Namaste Guruji. Please tell me where in the Bhagavad Gita it says I should go and learn from a wise person or a guru in order to learn this Atma Gyan.
Okay. In, I believe it's chapter 4, verse 34. That vidhi pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshinaha. Find that in your Bhagavad Gita, you'll see. That says pariprasnena sevaya. Prashnena is questions. So they're saying go with your questions and sevaya, with an attitude of seva. In other words, you're not going demanding. You're going with an attitude to learn. Humility. Jnaninas tattva darshinaha. And those jnanis will teach you, those tattva darshina, those that knows this, let's say darshana. Darshana is this type of teaching, this philosophy, this tradition, this specific jnanam that's taught in a different way. Because there are different traditions that is taught differently, that teaches differently. So you go to someone who knows. It says go to. In here it's not mentioning guru, but it's mentioning jnanis, which means someone who knows. But how does someone get to know? Remember, this learning is not something you can stumble upon by yourself. Even the greatest of saints in the scriptures says and show that they had a teacher. Why? Because when you try to understand scripture by yourself, what happens? Your mind works in such a way that it has filters. It has a set amount of information inside and a set amount of opinions. And when you read anything, you filter it through that. You want it to agree with what is already in your mind. And if it doesn't agree with what in your mind, you said it's not right, or you let it go. So it's saying go to someone who's a jnani. That means someone who knows. And in our tradition, how do you know? You learn it because you can't stumble upon it yourself, right? That means that person would have had to have a guru, a teacher. Because think of this, we have so many darshanas, using the word darshana here. Different traditions, or as you would say, systems of philosophy. You have Dvaita, Advaita, Vishishta Dvaita, you have Kashmiri Shaivism, you have so many different Shakya, interpreted different way, even when it's Arya Samaj, Rajayogi. So if you go to that specific person, what happens? You will learn from that tradition. So it says goes to one who knows. Now, why it is saying go to a jnani, meaning a jnani who has a guru, and I'll show you why, because it is straight from scripture. Everything that is in Bhagavad Gita is from the Upanishad. Sri Krishna did not come up with this knowledge. He simply taught what was already being taught in the Upanishad. He said that. He said, I was taught this to the sun god, Ikshvaku, Vivaswan, Ikshvaku, Vivaswan, etc. And it came down tradition to tradition. So he's not teaching anything new. So he goes through this to say, learn through Guru Shishya Parampara. Because if you try to do it on yourself, on your own, you come up with your own conclusions. Just look around at how many people say, I have read the Bhagavad Gita 4, 5, 6 times. I've gone through the Bhagavad Gita so many times, 4, 5, 6 times, Swamiji. And you know what my Swamiji asked? He says, you have gone through it 7 times. How many times has it gone through you? It only needs to go through you 1 time. And if it goes through you 1 time, then that's it. So you may have read it 7 or 8 times, and each time you read from a different level. You're a different person than 1 year ago when you read. You know the saying, you cannot step in the same river twice. Because when you step in the river is the water that's moving. You never step in that same water again. You are also not the same person tomorrow. You're not the same person that read it a year ago. So every time you read, you may come up with, depending what's on your mind and how you interpret it. And what you interpret is based on perceptions that you have in your mind and sometimes wrong notions. So if it doesn't fit into those wrong notions that you have in your head, what do you say? That teacher doesn't teach properly. I don't agree with him. He's not right. So there's a tradition here. So he's saying here, that knowledge, pariprasnena, ask those questions by and rendering seva. Upadekshanti te means he will teach you, he will initiate you, is the right word there. Because remember, this was Shruti. This was not taught to people unless they are students, unless they were adhikaritum, ready and qualified. So that teaching there means, upadekshanti means he will initiate you into this teaching. Who? Jnanina, the one who is ajnani, who knows that. Tattva darshinaha, seers, the one who knows, the sages. Close to the word darshana, right? What do they know? The darshinaha know? They know this darshana, this system of teaching. Now, that comes from the Upanishad. In the Mandukya Upanishad, there's a verse that says, why I'm saying this is so you know that Sri Krishna didn't say this for the first time and it was coming from nowhere. Sri Krishna had a guru, right? In fact, he had two gurus, remember? So he, even though he's Bhagwan, he went through the tradition to show you that even if Bhagwan has a guru, and Sri Ram had a guru, who is his guru? Vashishta. That's why we have the text called Yoga Vashisht, which is Sri Ram's questions to Guru Vashisht. So this tradition didn't start with Bhagavad Gita. It was there since Sri Ram also. And Vashisht was teaching him. In fact, I mentioned the last time the Yoga Vashisht is 36,000 verse. And the Itihasa Ramayana, the story, the history, the way they lived, is only 24,000 verse. So it must have been very important for him to go back and write 36,000 more verse. Now that is mentioned in the Itihasa Ramayana, that Sri Ram was sitting there quietly and he looked disturbed, and Guru comes to him, Vashisht, and said, what's wrong? You know, you have the best wife, you're a rich prince, you're a prince, powerful, brave, everybody loves you. You look disturbed. And then he says, yeah, I have a question. And then the Yoga Vashisht starts. 36,000 verse. Why 36,000 verse? Shouldn't it have been covered in 24? It is so voluminous. That is the Vedanta. The same Vedanta here. Sri Krishna is teaching to Arjuna in 700 verses, right? Now, that is a presi version, a small version of the whole, all the Upanishads. Remember, we do in our tradition, at least, we try to do Isha Kena Kata Prashna Munda Mandokya Aitriya Taitriya Chandogya Brihadaranyaka. Those are the 10 major Upanishads that Adi Shankara comments upon. We also do Kaivalya and Svetasvatara Upanishad. And there are more Upanishad that people, traditions do. But at least those 10, because he commented on it. And he also commented on the Bhagavad Gita. That is what lifted the Bhagavad Gita out of the Mahabharatam, the story part, and made it a qualified teaching. Because Adi Shankara was the first one to do that. And show you, hey, the crux of this is just the background for Bhagavad Gita. That's the whole reason for this Mahabharata. So you can get this from that view. So this verse that he's telling you here, Pariksha Lokan Karmachitan, comes from, is a similar verse in the Mundaka Upanishad. It says, Pariksha Lokan Karmachitan Brahmano Nirvedamayat Nasya Kritaha Kritena Tad Vijnanartam Sagurumevavi Gachet Samit Panihi Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam. So, Pariksha Lokan, after having this experience, which means a mature person, they've done a lot, they've achieved a lot. All these things they've experienced. And then they say, even after I've done all of these karmas, karmachitan, the results I got from them still does not satisfy me. Who? Pariksha Lokan Karmachitan. Who? Brahmano. Brahmano here means what? The mature person, the person of mature intellect, the person who has done all of this and saw the futility of all these actions. It's not giving me the result that I want. So, that person, the Brahmana, Nastya Kritaha Kritena, he reflects, understanding that Nastya Kritaha Kritena, anything that you do or the result that will come from it, or any combination of such, will not solve the problem. So, tad vijnanartam sagurumevavi gachet. Sagurumevavi gachet. So he goes to the Guru. Samit Pani, with firewood in hand. The tradition then was the Guru need firewood, right? Firewood for whether it's cooking or for the Agnihotra, the homas, right? So the tradition is you go to the Guru with firewood and you do Shashtanga Namaskar, 8, all the limbs touching, stretched out flat, and you go with firewood in the hand, give it to the Guru and stretch out and say, please teach me. Bhagavad Gita, what does Arjuna do? He asks the same question in chapter 2, verse 10. Right, around there he says, Shishyasteham Shadiman Tvam Prapannam. I am your Shishya. Please teach me. Only then the next verse came of the teaching, which is chapter 2, verse 11. Gatasuna gatasumsha nanusochanti panditaha. That teaching starts from that. The rest was just the setup where they were in the Bhagavad Gita, in the middle, the Bhagavad Gita, Dharmakshetre, Kurukshetre, Samaveta, Yutsava, Hamamaka, Pandavaschaiva, Kimakuruvata Sanjaya. What did my people do? What did my sons, and what was going on there? Then he says in the middle of the battlefield, right? Partaya Pratibodhita Madhye Mahabharatam. Remember we did that in the Dhyanam. In the middle of the Mahabharata it was taught. So in the same way. So now he goes with firewood in his hand. And in Sri Krishna says, Shishyaste, Arjuna says. So he asked for the teaching. Only then, before that, Sri Krishna was speaking to him as cousin or a friend, as a motivator, just saying, get up, man, get up. Don't be a coward. Stand up for dharma. Arjuna was lecturing him. Arjuna was saying, hey, if I do this and kill all these people, then there'll be no sons left. Who will give the pinda, danam? I'll be causing these problems. He was justifying in his mind why he shouldn't do it. He was quoting scripture to Bhagavan. How do you think Bhagavan must have felt? How do you think the Guru feels when he's sitting there and the student, knowing very little, tells him what he knows? He said, no, it's not this way. And justifies. That is why it's called Iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Yoga Arjuna Samvade, right?
Samvade.
Not Vada, not Jalpa, not Vitanda, but Samvada, with that respect, giving the benefit of the doubt with Shraddha to the Guru, because he's teaching you something that you don't understand at this moment. So you have to have an open mind and you have to have the Shraddha, thinking that I will understand as I go along. Just like you're learning math. You can't jump straight to calculus, but the teacher is teaching you something and you don't understand it because it's statistics or calculus or trigonometry and you're just at algebra. And then what do? You said, even though he gives me this formula and I don't understand it, I give the benefit of the doubt with Shraddha. I know he's correct. He's the professor, he's the teacher. I give that benefit of the doubt and I will learn it later. That's the difference between just having Shraddha and simple faith. Our tradition is not have faith and believe what I say. Our tradition is have Shraddha and I will explain it and teach it to you and you will understand it. You will not be left only believing it, because we are gurus, not preachers. We are teachers, not preachers, right? So, Samit Panihi, with firewood in hand. Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam. Samit Pani here also means that when you're offering, and then you bow your head, you're offering the ideas in your head, the wrong notions. You're offering this ready to learn. You're offering this pot here for him to fill it up. So now he has to wash the pot out and pour fresh water, because if the water has dirty water, the pot has dirty water, what happens? Any water you put inside, what happens to it? It becomes dirty. So there's a process. That is the sadhana that we mentioned. And the upasana, it has to go through all of that. The teaching has to remove the wrong notions in your head. What is the meaning of the word guru? Gukaro andakaro vai rukarastanni vartakaha andakaro niroditva guru ityabhidhiyate. Gu stands for the darkness. Ru stands for the removal. Andakaro niroditva, the one who removes this darkness, that one is called the Guru. So what is this darkness? These doubts, these wrong notions he has to remove. Then the light will go off. Then you'll start to understand, because these filters are blocking you from learning. So you go to the teacher who is Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam. Shrotriyam means he can teach it. He has the ability to teach. If you go to a Guru who is dumb, what will happen? He has it, but he can't teach you, right? Shrotriyam. And what if he knows it, but he doesn't have the same language to communicate with you? What if he knows it, but doesn't have the art of teaching or knows how to teach it? But he would have learned that art if he learned it from a guru. So when we say tattva jnani, jnaninas, go to those jnanis, they would have had a guru. So they would have learned the teaching method because they experienced that as a student. And it has to be Brahmanishtam. So suppose you know how to teach, but Brahmanishtam means you don't know this, you don't live this way. It's not real for you. Brahmanishtam means stamba. It means you're secure in that, you're certain, you're settled, you're fulfilled with that. You're not doubtful, wavering. Brahmanishtam. You're certain about it, you're confident about it. You can't be shaken. You won't be shaken because to get there you have to go through all the other things that can shake you. So, Brahmanishtam. So how would one have gotten this? Only through learning from a guru. And who did that guru get it from? And who did that get it from? And who did he get it from? And who did he get it from? And who did she get it from? Because we had saints, seers, rishis there, male and female. Remember Maitreyi, remember Gargi? All these people are mentioned in the scriptures, so women knew this. In the debate of Madana Mishra and Shankaracharya, Ubhaya Bharati, the wife of Madana Mishra, was the judge. So if the wife had to be the judge for the great Adi Shankara and the Dvaitin scholar Madana Mishra, who was her husband, doesn't it mean she had to have known? So then you can't say this tradition, no, women don't learn. No, we never had that tradition. And why we say Brahmanishtam when you learn from a guru? Because if you didn't learn from a guru, it means you came up with it yourself. It means you're probably starting your own religion and your own teaching. That's why we have so many differences. But we have sampradayas, so we take it as that. Your sampradaya is good, your sampradaya is good. Adi Shankara wrote Sarvagraha, Sarvadarshana, Sarvasangraha Darshana. 16 darshanas that was there in his time, or more, but he wrote on 16. And all of that combined is Sanatana Dharma. So we allow differences, part of learning, because people are not all equal, they're not all the same, you don't think the same. But mainly, why you go to a guru here, because this is not something that can be learned by yourself. You should not do this level of self-study, because why? There's blocks to learning such as wrong notions, the filters in your mind, you filter information. You don't like what that person is saying because they're not agreeing with you. You don't like their personality. All this has to go before it becomes your guru. And you have to take it with Shraddha. Take this information knowing that you will get it later. So it can't be self-study. If someone comes up to you and says, I can teach you this, I know this, I read this book and understand, guess what happens? Later when they're put to the test and someone debates with them that knows, then you wrap them up like this. Because they didn't go through this system. It's not a systematic study for them. They just know a little bit here and there, but they're not nishtam, they can't support that. See, there has to be a systematic study, a systematic teaching in a chronological order from a qualified guru who has learned this from his or her guru. Understand? Yeah. That tradition, because if it's not systematic, imagine someone bringing a bunch of bricks and dumping it in your yard. The purpose of that brick is to put it on the house and make a wonderful design, build a house, and with nice designs, different colors, right? But if they just dump it in your yard now, is that of use for you? So if you go to various lectures on this topic and that topic and this mandir and that mandir and this teacher and that teacher and this and that pandit and this purohit and everybody, that is like dumping bricks. It might be helpful in some way, but who has to put it together? The guru is the only one that will put it together. He has to take this random bricks and put it into a perspective and make a picture, make a good wall, make a house. You understand? So it cannot be self-study. Or it can be random study. It has to be systematic teaching in a chronological order, because there are certain things, when you go to various mandirs, you hear on this topic and this topic, they might be at different levels. And then you walk out saying, Bhagavad Gita is confusing. No, Bhagavad Gita seems to be confusing because you're not studying it chronologically and systematically. So that's why I say, and our tradition says, this has to be studied in a systematic manner from a guru in a chronological order. Has to be a systematic teaching in a chronological order from a qualified guru who has learned it from his or her guru. Does that answer the question?
Thank you very
Wonderful
much.
question. Oh.